The Bible mentions rewards in heaven multiple times. Why are rewards even necessary? Won't being in heaven with God be enough? Experiencing God, His glory, and the joys of heaven will be so wonderful that it's hard to understand why extra rewards would be needed. Also, since our faith rests in Christ's righteousness instead of our own, it seems strange that our works would even merit reward. God will give rewards in heaven at the Bema, or the judgment seat of Christ, based on our faithfulness and service to Him. The rewards will show the reality of our sonship with the justice of God. God will give rewards in heaven in order to fulfill the law of sowing and reaping, as written in Galatians 6, verses 7 through 9. Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. God will make good on His promise that our labor in the Lord is not in vain. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58 states, Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. One reason for the rewards in heaven is the fact that Jesus shares His reward with us. Paul writes in Galatians chapter 2, verse 20, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave Himself for me. Our lives are hidden with Christ, who is seated at the right hand of God. We die with Him, and we live with Him, and we share in His joy. In heaven, we will dwell with Him. Our lives are inextricably linked with Christ's. The reward He received is shared with all of us. The Apostle Paul writes in Romans chapter 8, verse 17, And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and joint heirs with Christ, if so be that we suffer with Him, that we may be also glorified together. Our rewards in heaven depend on the goodness and power of God. Through Christ's resurrection, we gain an inheritance in heaven. On earth, our faith is tested and results in praise and glory and honor when Christ is revealed. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 11 through 15, For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. If any man's work abide, which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. Paul is telling us that the things we do in this life are only permanent, that is, carried with us into heaven, if they are built on the foundation, which is Christ. The rewards we gain in heaven are not like the rewards we earn here on earth. We tend to think in material terms, mansions, jewels, etc. But these things are only representations of the true rewards we will gain in heaven. A child who wins a spelling bee treasures the trophy he receives, not for the sake of the trophy itself, but for what that trophy means. Likewise, any rewards or honor we gain in heaven will be precious to us because they carry the weight and meaning of our relationship with God, and because they remind us of what He did through us on earth. In this way, rewards in heaven glorify God and provide us with joy, peace, and wonder as we consider God's work in us and through us. The closer we were to God during this life, the more centered on Him and aware of Him, the more dependent on Him, the more desperate for His mercy, the more there will be to celebrate. We are like characters in a story who suffer doubt, loss, and fear, wondering if we will ever really have our heart's desire. When the happy ending comes and desire is fulfilled, there comes a completion. The story would not be satisfying without that completion. Rewards in heaven are the completion of our earthly story, and those rewards will be eternally satisfying.